It is Democratic primary day in South Carolina, so we're checking in now to see how things are going so far. Thank you for joining our live. I'm Simon Williams.
And I'm Camille Gale. Now, polls open at 7 o'clock this morning. That means we have just about 5 hours until they close at 7 p.m. We'll be checking in with Amanda, who is at those polls for us.
We're also checking in with Emma for the issues that matter most to voters.
And Joelle to hear more about who can vote in today's primary.
And if you are heading out today, here's what the ballot looks like. This is President Joe Biden, Marianne Williamson, and Dean Phillips going for the nomination.
Taking a look back at our last presidential election in 2020, here's a map of South Carolina's 2020 results. Now, 43.4% of the state voted for Biden, with 14 counties voting blue, including Marion and Marlboro.
Now, you see Horry County went red with 66%, about 2/3 going for Trump, 32% voting for Biden. And those numbers could give us a clue to today's voter turnout. Amanda has been monitoring the polls since they opened first thing this morning.
Amanda, have those polls been busy?
They have not been busy. In fact, it's been very slow here at Seacoast Church. There have been less than 20 voters. However, the poll workers are attributing that to early voting. The last couple of weeks, over 2,000 people came out to vote, so that's why they think they're seeing those low numbers today.
All right, thank you, Amanda. And this morning, Amanda caught up with the very first vote at Socastee High School and asked that voter what's motivating him.
He said there's a group of voters that he hopes will make their voices heard today.
I hope a bunch of the young folks come out, because I think that's one of our problem. You can't get a bunch of the young folks to come out and vote. So I hope you have a big turnout today.
Oliver said no matter what party you side with, it's important for everyone to come out and vote.
And a number of precincts today are about half of what voters are used to. That's because officials have consolidated them for both the Democratic and Republican primaries. Horry County's normal 122 precincts are condensed to about 60. And in Darlington County, there are changes with Ward 5th precinct. Now, if you just want to double check yours before heading out, you could head to WPDE.com.
And as you make your way to those precincts, make sure you have your voter registration card and a photo ID. That could be a driver's license, military ID, or a passport. While there's 2 primaries happening this month, you can only vote in one. Joa has more on the voting process.
Simon, Camille, that's right. Can only vote in one primary in South Carolina. Now, any registered voter can vote in either primary this month. But unlike other states where you register and stick with that party for all their elections, South Carolina allows you to vote in one or the other, but only one. Now, regardless of which primary you choose to cast your vote in this month, you're still free to vote for whichever party you'd like in the general election. Now, it's too late to register in this primary, but the deadline to register for the Republican primary is next Thursday, February 8th. Guys?
Thank you, Joelle. Now, if you run into any issues or confusion at the polls, you can let us know in the comment section here. We do have a team monitoring your feedback. Now, the South Carolina Democratic Party hosted its First in the Nation tour this week. On Thursday, they made stops in Hartsville and Florence, where party leaders and the Democratic National Committee Chairman Jamie Harrison spoke. Now, the bus held its final rally in Marion yesterday, where former Alabama Senator Doug Jones rallied South Carolinians to get out to the polls. Jones told us black voters played a critical role in helping him get elected in Alabama, and he believes the same can be done here.
In Horry County, voters strolled to the polls yesterday. The 3-block walk started at the Democratic Party's office and ended at the Horry County Voters Registration Office.
And yesterday, Vice President Kamala Harris was in South Carolina. She was at South Carolina State University for an early voter event. Meanwhile, Republican candidate Nikki Haley took aim at that visit, asking who's the one actually running for president.
None of the candidates on today's ballot are awaiting results in the Palmetto State, but they did make stops in the weeks leading up to today. Now, President Biden will be in Los Angeles today. He spent some time in South Carolina last week. He spoke at the Democratic dinner Saturday and made a stop at John Baptist Church in Columbia on Sunday. For Williamson, she's in Las Vegas today and tomorrow ahead of their primary in Nevada on Tuesday. Her last visit to South Carolina was back in December.
And Dean Phillips' campaign did not say where he is today, but he spent last week on South Carolina's First in the Nation tour. He spoke at a Democratic dinner that Biden also attended and held an event in Columbia where 12 people showed up.
The national debt, it's more than $34 trillion right now, and inflation rates have reached some of their highest points in the last 40 years.
Cost of living, affordable housing, and debt are all big issues right now, leaving many Americans to wonder what's next.
So we're checking in with Emma now, who's been doing the research. Now, Emma, how do potential president candidates plan to handle the state of the economy?
Simon, all three candidates actually have very similar ideas for how they would build back the economy, and a lot of it focuses on strengthening the middle class. However, there are some key differences in areas of focus that each one has in order to do so. For example, President Biden, he has the Build Back Better framework. A lot of that focuses on taking higher taxes from businesses and corporations and applying them to immigration reform, expanding college education access to more people to create affordable housing. Marianne Williamson, she really wants to focus on getting higher wages and universal health care for everybody. And then when you take a look at candidate Dean Phillips, he really goes back to investing in local and small businesses that can help bring higher wages to the average American worker.
Emma, you've been speaking to political science professors all over the state. What are some other issues that are driving voters to the polls?
The economy is definitely one of the biggest ones. A lot of those political science professors that I've spoke with from USC and Coastal Carolina University, they talk about everyone being worried about their bottom line, what they're paying at the end of the day and what their funds are going towards. However, a big thing driving people to those polls are going to be women's rights when it comes to abortion and healthcare access. And the same thing for the LGBTQ community and their options as certain bills are being introduced in different states and across the nation. A couple other things are the southern border and talking about security there and overseas conflicts. I know we went more in depth about the economy right now. However, if you head over to the ABC15 TikTok page or on our website at WPDE.com, we have videos going in depth for all of those for each candidate and how they would help or how they say they would help if they were elected into office.
Thank you, Emma. And we asked viewers online the same question and saw some similar responses. We'll take a minute here to go over some of those answers.
Now, Julie Long said border security and economy. Nancy Leslie said electing someone under the age of 70. Michael Manley, economy first, border second. Now, most people seem to agree with economy and border security being their top issues, like Emma just touched on for us right there. And early voting ended at 7 o'clock last night. We just got those final totals. We're going to start in Darlington County. It's 1,120 people. 2,130 in Florence, while in Horry County, we saw 2,336. That's the most in our viewing area.
And while we had this same election in 2020, we did not have early voting just yet. So we don't have an exact comparison to show you, but we can show you the total number of people who voted in 2020's Democratic primary. Those totals we won't have until tonight for this year, but taking a look back, as a reminder, there were 5 major Democratic choices in this race. You can see about 30,000 voted in Horry County, about 14,000 in Florence.
Biden is looking to claim some delegates in today's race. The Democratic National Committee lifted South Carolina to first in the nation status because of its diversity with black voters. New Hampshire held its primary last month, but it was merely symbolic. The DNC reprimanded the state by not putting Biden on the ballot and declining to award New Hampshire's delegates. Now, Biden did win, though, as a write-in campaign. Biden's 2020 primary win marked a key moment in the election. He swept 46 counties, and it was after some of the early states where he didn't have much strength.
I told you all that you could launch a candidacy. You launched Bill Clinton, Barack Obama to the presidency. Now you launched our campaign on the path to defeating Donald Trump.
Support from the black community and a key endorsement from Representative James Clyburn, who is supporting Biden again, helped catapult him to victory 4 years ago. Biden is expected to win big today. Political analysts say a win in South Carolina would energize his re-election campaign.
They say it's a key test that polls and Democratic focus groups show many black voters feel disengaged and not interested with the political process right now. Dean Phillips believes Biden will win as well. He shared a report on X by the New York Times saying Biden is running largely uncontested. Now, Phillips said he agreed and believed his opponent would get about 95% of the vote today. It is rare for incumbent presidents to face a serious re-election challenge in the primary, so a Coastal Carolina political science professor Mike Norris says today is about Democrats building momentum with voters. He says it may be an underwhelming turnout, but still a safe start for what's to come in future presidential races in the state. And a Quinnipiac poll found 78% of voters think Biden will win the Democratic nomination. 11% favored Williamson and 6% said Phillips.
A Monmouth poll shows how voters feel Biden would fare in a race against Haley and Trump. 42% believe Trump would win, while 29% believe that's possible. There is less confidence on Haley's chance of beating Biden. 21% think she would.
And we asked you on our Facebook page, would you be satisfied with a Biden-Trump rematch? Here's what some of you had to say. Joshua Rudd said he'll pass on both. Alexis Harnish said pick two other people. And she says candidates need to be younger and in touch with everyday people. Some said Trump, while others answered Biden. Now, Haley reaffirmed that she is still in the race for the GOP nomination Thursday in Hilton Head. Trump has a large lead over Haley in the state in most major polls. Trump won the South Carolina primary when he first ran for president in 2016. And this year's GOP primary is 3 weeks away now, February 24th. Now, early voting will begin February 12th, and that will run through the 22nd.
And both parties will turn to Nevada next week with two separate events. Nevada's state-run Democratic and Republican presidential primary will be held on Tuesday. The party-run GOP caucus will be held 2 days later on Thursday.
And whether you're voting for Phillips, Biden, or Williamson today, if you are excited to make your voice heard, we would love to see. You could show us your I voted sticker or take a selfie outside of your voting precinct. Just remember, cameras are not allowed inside the voting booth, so no ballot selfies. You could upload your pictures on WPDE.com/chime-in. And before we go today, we wanted to show you where you could find resources that we're sharing with you. If you head to WPDE.com/election, you will see all of the coverage that we've been compiling for you. That includes the impact black voters could have in the presidential election, to a therapist's suggestions on your mental health during the election, and a complete guide of what you need before heading to the polls.
And tonight, when results start coming in, you can go ahead and click on the 3 lines you see here. You're going to go to news, and then we're going to go under the election tab you see right here. This will update as results come in. You'll also find these on our WPDE app.
And remember, you have until 7 o'clock to vote, and that means as long as you're in line at 7 o'clock, you could still vote. Now, once the polls close, be sure to join us back here tonight on the ABC15 News at 11 for a full breakdown of the results.
And remember, we're working for you today, so you could reach out to us on social media or email with any questions or issues you're seeing at the polls today. Thank you so much for joining us.